I was betrothed to Yi Linchuan in our youth. We had long been fond of each other. After marriage, discord arose because of his teacher's daughter, Gu Xiaoyun. During our most intense arguments, I called him filthy and disgusting, saying he'd eventually take his mentor's daughter under the same blanket. He hated me so much his eyes turned red with rage. If you can't bear children, you violated the 7 grounds for divorce. Had I known you'd be this unreasonable, I should have divorced you long ago to make room for her. Reborn into the past, he completely changed his confrontational attitude. She arranged for Gu Xiaoyun to be sent to another family early on. He wanted to make up for me properly in this new life. But he didn't know, I had already been promised to another family's son. Hello, everyone, welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful novels every day. Now the story begins. I was reborn a year earlier than Yi Linchuan, through my guidance. My parents have already discovered Yi Linchuan's ambiguous relationship with Gu Xiaoyun, the matter of breaking off the engagement. Both families had already settled it discreetly, just not announced yet. On this day, I sat with my family brewing tea and enjoying the snow. My second sister-in-law suddenly mentioned him. I don't know what's going on with that He family fellow. He suddenly sent his teacher's daughter to live with another family and even plans to have his parents formally adopt her as their goddaughter. As she spoke, she glanced at me. Second brother awkwardly rubbed his nose. Both families have already called off the engagement. Why bring him up now? I was the one who investigated the whole matter between him and that girl back then. Mother sat nearby, peeling a roasted orange to eat. He took one segment and distributed the rest. Everyone unsuspectingly popped them into their mouths, only to be caught off guard by the sourness, their faces twisting in agony. Second brother and his wife received an especially large share. Father hesitated for a long while with the remaining piece before tossing it in front of second brother. What? Your sister didn't regret it, but now you're the ones who regret it first. Second brother felt terribly wronged and immediately protested. How could that be? But that guy has been stealing the spotlight lately. If word gets out that our sister broke off the engagement, it'll make our family look like we don't recognize talent. That sounded a bit more reasonable. Father's expression softened considerably as he instructed. Right now, he's shining too brightly. It's not the time to bring up the broken engagement, lest outsiders suspect there's something wrong with him, at the very least. We shouldn't tarnish his current reputation because of our family. After all, the emperor favors him now, and we mustn't spoil his majesty's mood. From the start of winter, Yi Linchuan has been constantly making small moves. First, he went around patrolling everywhere. Upon returning, he submitted a memorial to the higher authorities. He claimed that the people's houses were dilapidated and unable to withstand disasters, and since most were idle during winter, it would be a good opportunity to repair the houses to prevent collapses during the next rainy season. The emperor readily agreed. However, when it came to requesting funds from the Ministry of Revenue, it was like squeezing blood from a stone. After much back and forth, Yi Linchuan managed to secure only a paltry sum. He was desperate enough to go around soliciting money from acquaintances, including our family. That was when I realized Yi Linchuan had also been reborn. But this is a good thing. And I also donated some silver. Although I had made preparations early in private, I had no intention of showing them publicly. 2 miraculous events would bring unnecessary trouble. Yi Linchuan has everything ready. Snowfall lasted for several days starting from late November. Thanks to prior preparations, many people were spared from disaster, and all the charcoal I had stockpiled was sold out. This caused those who wanted to raise prices to abandon their plans. After the blizzard ended, many citizens came to thank the officials. After this incident, Yi Linchuan became the center of attention. Even the emperor took notice of him. There were also rumors that he was a man of good fortune. Many people openly or privately lamented that he had gotten engaged too early and should have had better options. Mother sighed with a complicated expression. Since he sent her away, it's clear he knew his relationship with the Gu family's daughter wasn't right. If he wants to cut ties, he should first ask whether the other person agrees. It must be said, Mother was right. Where would Gu Xiaoyun ever resign herself to fate? in her previous life, whenever she encountered something unpleasant, she would become so upset that she would refuse to eat, or she would resign from Helinchuan and insist on returning alone to her hometown. She always managed to make others the bad guys. She was full of grievances but said nothing, unless Helinchuan coaxed her. One sulked while the other coaxed. Despite their overly affectionate state, they insisted they were purely innocent and had done nothing improper. I thought that after Helinchuan was reborn, he would come to me to break off the engagement, eager to marry Gu Xiaoyun. Why did he send her away instead? Could it be that he already knows I broke off the engagement with him, planning to cut ties with Gu Xiaoyun first, find another scapegoat? I soon learned the reason. He actually came to the Zhang family looking for me. Mother could only say I was sick to send him away, then immediately came to discuss this matter with me. I felt a lingering fear. Thank goodness I'm afraid of the cold and stay cooped up indoors all day. If I had run into him outside, wouldn't it be troublesome if he directly came after me? This can't go on forever, Mother said with obvious reproach in her tone. We still haven't told the child what exactly happened with Lian Yang. Have the two families already called off the engagement? Lian Yang is Helinchuan's mother. The reason the two families arranged the engagement was because his mother and my mother were close friends. Thinking of her, my expression darkened. She probably still wants to change both our minds. People always show bias toward those they're close to. In the past, I wouldn't have dared to speak of his mother like this in front of my own mother. She would have scolded me for being disrespectful. Now, she clearly harbors discontent. I need to make her realize that he is first and foremost Helinchuan's mother, and only then her good friend. The news of breaking off the engagement would harm both families' reputations. Leaving aside mine and Helinchuan's reputations, just the act of backing out at the last minute would give both families a bad impression of not keeping their word. Marriage between men and women has always been an exchange of interests. More allies mean more paths forward. In the court, having more people echo one's words means an additional channel for information. Marriage alliances bring numerous benefits. The only thing not required is whether I have feelings for Helinchuan. In the future, if he wants several concubines or maids, I couldn't even restrain his will. He should never, under any circumstances, have gotten involved with the teacher's daughter, flirting yet refusing to acknowledge it. Gu Qiayun's status was never meant to be that of a concubine. So what does he want to do? Let her be a co-wife? Out of nowhere, someone appeared, about to take away resources that belonged to me. How could my parents possibly sit still? After all, the title and family wealth, only the legitimate line can inherit the lion's share. I carefully observed my mother's expression and continued, perhaps next time someone asks, you could say the two children were betrothed too young and didn't understand anything. Say I insisted that Helinchuan, whom I've grown up with, feels no different from a real brother, making it truly impossible to cross that line. At first glance, this seems like a disadvantageous statement. It makes me appear both peculiar and willful. After a brief moment of thought, Mother suddenly laughed and said, you're digging a pit for the two of them, as the fiancé. I feel Helinchuan is like an elder brother to me. Gu Xiaoyun, who lives in Helinchuan's house, has instead gotten involved with him. I said meaningfully, she wants to marry him. This matter will inevitably come to light. When the time comes, I'll have the threads my mother planted unravel. Someone will bring it up. A trace of anger flickered across Mother's face. I understand what you mean. A mother knows her own children best. She's unwilling to speak ill of her own son. Intending to enjoy the blessings of both sides, such humiliation towards us, how could I possibly swallow this anger? Helinchuan and Gu Xiaoyun are close. Mother he had known all along, but which mother would dislike her son being popular? After all, it's not her son who's at a disadvantage. As I was pondering how to give Gu Qiayun a push, my mother moved closer to me and gave my shoulder a squeeze. I blame myself for not choosing the right person back then, causing you to suffer such a wretched ordeal. I leaned on her shoulder and said, even a dog has its own thoughts, let alone a person. It's fortunate to learn these things before marriage. I thought such words would comfort her and make her happy. Instead of being reassured, She looked at me with even greater concern. Did you tell mother that you've long noticed his close private dealings with Gu Chaoyun, but didn't dare speak up because you thought the family wouldn't agree to break off the engagement? Her gentle eyes were filled with heartache for me. My heart trembled slightly. So my family had long been aware of the changes in me. How could that be? He never mentioned Gu Chaoyun in our interactions. All these years, I only knew his family had such a person. Precisely because he never mentioned her, we all subconsciously ignored her. Even my family members trusted He Linchuan implicitly. Everyone thought his act of taking in the teacher's daughter was noble and kind, never suspecting he might overstep his bounds. Mother just feels that you've become exceptionally mature. Mother gently nuzzled my head. It's as if you've been through so much. Sometimes, watching you from afar, you seem so lonely. Many sorrows become bearable once you get used to carrying them. It's just that I can't stand others' concern. A decade's worth of heartache surges in an instant. My throat is so tight I can't make a sound. Such tormented days. It has been far too long. I want to say I died before turning 30. I want to say they didn't meet a good end either. The words were on the tip of my tongue, but I held them back. Just like many years ago, when I cried and said I wanted to go home, but mother's response was, "If you come back, what about your sister's wedding?" Later, it became, "You can't have children. If you remarry, you'll only be raising someone else's kids." Marrying a man over 20 years older than you, smelling that foul old man's stench, would that make you happy? At that time, I was so broken that I kept losing my hair. I always felt like no one could understand how I felt, but what she said made sense. All women are like this. Marriage is a gamble. I cried out in pain. I never want to get married again. Her angry retort burst out in a single sentence. Even if I shaved my head to become a nun, without support, I'd still be bullied. Marriage is the only way out. Thinking of the past, a flood of bitterness rose to her lips. I forced a light-hearted tone as I wheedled my mother. How could that be? I was just thinking, if I marry into that family without clarity, how much suffering would I have to endure? The more I thought about it, the more heartbreaking it felt, and I couldn't help but feel down. Mother sighed helplessly. You always overthink things. I've heard this many times before, in the past. I didn't like such definitions and would inevitably pull a long face in anger. Now I can just smile lightly, as carefree as a passing cloud. Then I turn my head to look at her with a smile. Luckily, Mother stands up for me. Otherwise I'd really be drowning in tears. I have felt disappointment towards my family, and I have also come to understand them, until the moment before death. Under my persistent questioning, the maid Jishuang collapsed in tears by the bedside, holding my hand and saying, "Fourth madam has gone into labor, and the old mistress, feeling uneasy, has personally gone to oversee things. She likely won't return until tomorrow. Good lady, please wait a little longer, just a little longer." All right. At that moment, I became acutely aware, I may not be my parents' only child, but they are my only parents, so it's inevitable to place excessive expectations on them. As for understanding their difficulties, absolutely unnecessary, especially when stuck in a difficult situation. I try to understand them, but receiving no equal feedback only multiplies the pain. In the blink of an eye, it was the day of the eldest sister's child's first birthday celebration. My mother went over to stay for a couple of days earlier. I went over that same day with my elder brothers and their wives. The two families are related by marriage. We, the younger generation, are all very familiar with each other. As soon as I arrived, I dismissed the maids and strolled to the back by myself. Qin Wenshu was delighted to see me and called her younger sister Qin Wenjing over. "You've been talking about Minju every day, and now she's here. You two don't need to stay here. Go and have fun." Qin Wenjing had long been restless and immediately grabbed my hand, saying, "Let's go, quick, otherwise, if someone comes, my second sister will start assigning tasks right away." I hurriedly followed her as she dashed off. Hearing Sister Wenshu's hushed call from behind, "Slow down." Once we were farther away, Qin Wenjing slowed her pace, hooked her arm through mine, and leaned in to whisper, "Did you really break off the engagement with the He family?" I nodded. How could that be fake? Chen Wenjing frowned. Yesterday, my mother happened to ask if you were getting married next year, and your mother said that after spending so much time with Yi Linchuan, you've come to see him as an older brother. She said you feel awkward about marrying him and that you're throwing a tantrum, refusing to honor the engagement. She looked me up and down, even reaching out to touch my forehead. Others might not know, but I do. You were so eager to marry him. How could you suddenly call off the engagement, a major turning point in life? Family and friends would be the first to worry about me. But pure emotions, it seems it can only last until before marriage. I once thought my parents didn't understand me. Friends should understand me the most. When Yi Linchuan and I were at each other's throats, he had invited many persuaders. Among them was Chen Wenjing. After talking for a long time without success, she grew somewhat angry. He sought me out, which shows he still cares for you. Love fades with constant quarreling. If you keep this up, you'll only push him further toward Gu Zhaoyun. Tearfully, I replied to her, I never intended to make things difficult for her from the start. But in all our conflicts, big and small, he never once stood up for me or believed in me, not even once. If they're so well matched, why did he marry an outsider like me just to suffer? Childhood sweetheart's unconditional trust failed when encountering Gu Chaoyun. The tacit understanding that belonged to him and me transferred to their every word and action. Because they were also childhood sweethearts, he protected her from the bottom of his heart. What I heard most often was, "She's not that kind of person. She's already pitiful for losing her family. Why are you still targeting her?" At first, it was just some minor oversights in arrangements. I don't even know if it was the servant's fault or if Gu Chaoyun deliberately made it so, making me seem like a harsh mistress. Or perhaps Gu Chaoyun had long since said to Yi Linchuan, when Zhang Minju marries in, should I avoid her? Would she be unhappy to see me? And such words, before I even married into the family? She had already seen me as an enemy, setting one trap after another, driving a wedge between Yi Linchuan and me. Trust collapsed, and we gradually attacked each other like madmen. He even invited Chen Wenjing to persuade me. All because he had done her husband a favor. He brought my parents over to pressure me, just to make me realize that there was no turning back for me. When he hated me, he used every means to force me to submit. All the past events, only I know. Under Chen Wenjing's probing gaze, I asked her in confusion. In recent years, the more I look at Yi Linchuan, the more I feel he's no different from my second brother. If you have any acquaintances who like him, you'd better act quickly, lest he gets engaged to someone else again. Chen Wenjing pursed her lips somewhat sheepishly. What about me? If that person were me, would you be angry? I abruptly let out a laugh. Under her fearful, evasive gaze, I said lightly, I don't care whom he marries. But let's get this straight. If things don't go well later, don't come blaming me. After all, I've never lived with him, so I don't know what he'd be like after marriage. After all, in our past life, she had so indignantly advised me. Maybe she doesn't mind Yi Linchuan's past. Perhaps they'll live happily together. As they spoke, a man's voice suddenly came from behind. Someone abruptly stopped mid-sentence. Someone joyfully called out, Minju. I turned to look in the direction of the voice. Jiang Shui jogged over and affectionately linked her arm with mine, saying, surprised, I've been holding back from writing to you all this time, just for this moment. Her appearance truly caught me off guard. I didn't even make it to my eldest sister's child's first birthday banquet in my past life, so why is she suddenly appearing before me now? Could there be someone else who has also been reborn? My heart, startled by the sudden encounter, still hasn't calmed down. A clear and gentle voice then rang out, it's been a long time, Minju. My hand hanging by my side suddenly trembled. The elders of the Jiang family were acquainted with my uncle. In the past, when I visited my maternal grandparents' home, the children from my uncle's family and the Jiang family would take me out to play everywhere. Only Jiang Yuxing was busy with his studies and rarely played with us. I always brought back some little trinkets for him. No particular reason, just that at a young age I was drawn to beauty. I simply thought this older brother was handsome and gentle-natured, so I always wanted to get closer and take a few more glances. Plus, he seemed rather unhappy. I wanted to cheer him up a little. When I was 10, I accidentally saw him being punished. No sooner had his father punished him than he turned around and beat his father's illegitimate son half to death. Jiang Yuxing stepped on his half-brother's hand with a smile on his face, his tone vicious as he said, "Tell your concubine mother that if there's a next time, I'll have you chopped up and fed to the dogs." He was so consumed by anger that he didn't notice me following closely behind. When he turned around, he saw the look of terror on my face. After that incident, I never dared to seek him out again. Even if we happened to meet, I would keep my head down and quickly exchange a few words before leaving. If that were all, it would be one thing. Only upon growing up did I finally understand his predicament. His mother passed away early. At home, he was not treated well by his stepmother. The craziest time, it happened to be the year his grandmother passed away. The worst part was his inexplicable obsession with me. Later, he found out about my discord with He Linchuan. Taking advantage of my going out to arrange a chance encounter, he bewitched me into betraying He Linchuan and having a secret affair with him. The shame and anger I felt upon suddenly hearing those words remain unforgettable to this day. Now, seeing him again so suddenly, I couldn't very well show him a cold face, so I pretended to be gentle and asked, "When did you arrive?" "I just arrived yesterday." "Could you, Minju, please show Shuai around? She's never been to Yangcheng before and isn't familiar with the place." "No problem." I thought the small talk would be over in a few words. Unexpectedly, a stern question came through. "What do you mean, Zhang Minju? Why did you break off the engagement with my brother for no reason?" He Linchuan's sister, He Qiu, was walking towards me in a rage. This was the only path to the inner courtyard. Many female guests, hearing the commotion, immediately decided to stay and watch. I smiled good-naturedly. "Look at you, getting all worked up. After all these years together, if I can't be your sister-in-law, can't I at least be your sister?" He Qiu's expression froze, and she pressed on relentlessly. "So what's the real reason? You have to give me some explanation, otherwise people outside will start gossiping about my brother." "Well," I hesitated, glancing around before reluctantly explaining, "it's just that we're too familiar. Whenever I see your brother, it's like seeing my own brother. I always feel a chill down my spine, afraid of being scolded." That part wasn't a lie. Before I married He Linchuan, I was sensitive in nature and quite righteous. Whenever I heard improper remarks, I would inevitably argue with others. Because of this, my family often scolds me for being so strong-willed. He Linchuan occasionally encountered such situations. First, he would shield me from those who couldn't win arguments and resorted to violence. Then he'd knock me on the head as if lecturing me for show. Outsiders who saw this actually thought he was quite indulgent toward me. Back then, Gu Zhaoyun took advantage of my personality. It created many conflicts between me and He Linchuan. Now, his past protection has instead become the issue in my words. It also serves as evidence of him lecturing me in front of others. He Qiu couldn't believe it. "Just because of this, you want to break off the engagement with my elder brother?" He Linchuan arrived at some point. What annulment! Seeing him come, I quickly breathed a sigh of relief. "Brother He, you should know this. Half a year ago, you and I had our engagement called off. Aunt was worried it would affect my reputation, so she said to wait a while before making it public." The moment our eyes met, he froze. Everything has become clear. It seems he finally realized. "I came back earlier than he did, he responded with unconcealed regret, explaining to me, "Mother thought you were too young, worried you might just be momentarily confused, so she didn't spread this matter around." This matter was just let go like that. As long as he didn't want the situation to escalate and affect his reputation, he would absolutely not continue to bother me. Moreover, he should know I wouldn't turn back. In our past life, we made things too ugly between us. He makes up for it on the premise that I know nothing. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so eager to see me, wanting to know if I'm that Jiang Minju who trusts him wholeheartedly. As the few of us dispersed, the onlookers dispersed spontaneously. At present, He Linchuan is in favor. Learning that I insisted on breaking off the engagement with him half a year ago, others would only laugh at my misfortune. This is just as well. He was rejected by me in marriage. yet his reputation remained untarnished. As long as it doesn't affect his current image, the emperor's intention to employ him won't be hindered. Moreover, it was He Chiu who stirred up trouble first. The already guilt-ridden He family wouldn't dare to slander me. On the contrary, they would even express regret to others that the marriage didn't work out. After all, the reason He Lin Chuan and I broke off our engagement was Gu Xiaoyun. If we really start arguing, it would only end in mutual destruction. This stirred up quite a commotion. So it's better for me not to go out and about, lest someone seeks me out to get to the bottom of it. I simply went to my little nephew's room to play with him. My elder sister looked at me with concern. I've heard about the commotion outside. Are you all right? I was making my little nephew laugh non-stop and replied casually, it's nothing serious. I've long expected this day would come. She didn't know I did it to achieve this purpose. How much preparation has been done. The current situation is already the best possible outcome. Seeing that my elder sister was still somewhat uneasy, I said, they'll only gossip for a while. There are plenty of new things happening all the time, and our little matter is nothing significant. The elder sister was deeply worried. I don't know what your brother-in-law was thinking. He actually wants Wenjing to marry into the He family. Hearing this, I paused my movements and casually handed my little nephew to the wet nurse beside me. Sister, don't come to me for inquiries. If they want to marry their daughter off, then they should investigate the He family's situation themselves. The issues I care about might not be the same as theirs. I leaned back on the nearby recliner and reminded her, Sister, you've finally managed to have a son after so much difficulty. Your primary task now is to take care of your little nephew. Let others handle the rest. Why should you trouble yourself with such matters? Without waiting for my elder sister to defend herself, I frowned and continued to persuade her. If things don't go well in the future, she may not dare to resent her own mother, but she could easily blame you. At this, my elder sister was completely speechless, but she still couldn't resist grumbling at me. Your personality is just too blunt. I laughed in frustration and stood up from the chair. If I were truly blunt, why would I be here sharing these heartfelt words with you? I should have just mumbled vague responses and brushed it off. Sister, your words are truly disheartening. From now on, I won't overstep my bounds again, the elder sister sighed. Can't I even say a few words to you anymore? I turned and walked out the door. As I reached the entrance, the wind hit me. My mind suddenly became much clearer. It really shouldn't be the case that knowing everything makes one condescendingly advise the elder sister. She genuinely wanted the best for Chen Wenjing and wasn't wrong in that. In their previous life, the family Chen Wenjing married into was connected through her help. That man was the younger brother of her good friend, with a steady and solid approach to life, slow in climbing the official ranks, which didn't align with Chen Wenjing's preferences, leading to frequent private conflicts between them. She harbored resentment in her heart, and every time she returned to her parents' home, she would inevitably make sarcastic remarks about my eldest sister. Whenever my eldest sister mentioned this incident back at her parents' home, she often regretted it deeply. I turned around and kicked the threshold of the room, startling my eldest sister who was lost in thought, and awkwardly demanded, Aren't you usually so good at coaxing Minhui? Why is it my turn now and you're not coaxing me? My eldest sister burst into laughter and said, I'll coax you right away. She came over and gave me a hug. You're right, it's really not good to meddle too much in life's big matters. My sister is the one who truly cares for me. I smiled reservedly, of course, yet such dignified interactions did not bring me a good mood, because I know that my eldest sister will still stand by her husband's family in the future. From the day she got married, she became a member of the Chen family. Such bonds will only grow stronger over time, just like my mother, who became the mother of the Zhang family's children. The first birthday banquet has concluded. Mother has begun preparing to arrange a match for me. Minhui was quite displeased. At such a critical juncture, how can we find a suitable match? Who knows if there might be onlookers mixed in? As I flipped through the portraits in my hand, I unexpectedly came across Chen Wenjing's husband from her past life. This is a good opportunity to filter them out and reduce future interactions. That's exactly the point, Mother said without hesitation. When something happens, you can see people more clearly. Putting down the portrait in my hand, I suddenly said, "But I don't really like this." Mother paused for a moment, then said, "I'll have someone keep an eye on things. They wouldn't dare to act out of line." Minhui looked at me and then at Mother, tactfully changing her tone. "Third sister, don't worry, Mother would never let others bully you." I didn't press the matter further. Mother's decisions were usually just announcements. After careful consideration, Mother settled on the second son of the Marquis of Chang'an. Arrange a meeting. Among so many candidates, his status wasn't the highest. If I remember correctly, he was ranked exactly second. The one with higher status was the Crown Prince of Yu. Mother has inquired, and this second son of the Shin family has a gentle temperament and handles matters with great propriety. It's perfect since you have a bit of a stubborn temper. Having a more mild-mannered future husband couldn't be better. It was confirmed that both families had such intentions. The Shin family first sent Shin Ku to deliver something to my father. After interacting with him, my father couldn't stop praising him. This young man has solid knowledge, yet remains humble. My mother asked about the health of his elders at home. To our surprise, he answered very well too. I also discussed some health-preserving methods with my mother. Indeed, as the matchmaker said, it was substantial and meaningful. 2 days later, the Shin family sent an invitation to test the waters. If satisfied, Mother would take Minhui and me to the banquet. If she was dissatisfied, she wouldn't take us. Not only did Mother take Minhui and me, but she also prepared generous gifts. I understood clearly. Today's meeting is considered the final assessment. First, the elders of the Shin family wanted to meet me. Second, it was to let Shin Ku have a few words with me. Everything went quite smoothly. The elderly Madam Shin did not summon Shin Ku directly. Instead, she had Shin Ku's younger sister take me out for a walk. As we rounded the corridor, the view before us opened up considerably. But when I saw the stone path across the lake, a story I'd heard in my past life at the Peach Blossom Hermitage suddenly came to mind. When I went to the Taohua Nunnery to light the eternal lamp, I asked others to leave while I made my wish. However, weakened from nearly drowning, I fainted midway through my prayer. Upon waking, Master Mingxin told me it was the lamp-keeping nun, Huiyan, who saved me. I wanted to thank her in person, but Master Mingxin said Huiyan refused to see anyone. She told me Huiyan was also a pitiable soul. She was originally a daughter of a noble family. When she reached the age for marriage meetings, she encountered a beast with a wicked heart. On the day of their meeting, someone pushed her into the lake. The man had his servants jump in to rescue her, only to humiliate her with words afterward. That scoundrel took pleasure in ruining a woman's reputation. Huiyan, unable to bear the injustice, exposed him, but the man had a good reputation. And everyone claimed Huiyan was desperate to marry, resorting to schemes to trap him, only to fail and go mad. The younger sister of the Shin family walking ahead turned around with a puzzled look. "Minju sister, what's wrong?" Snapping out of my memories. I realized I was overthinking things. I smiled at her. "It's nothing. Where are we heading?" She also smiled and said, "They're all fishing up ahead. Let me take you to see." But she herself didn't notice, the moment she smiled along. She made a very subtle movement. It was a blink after staring at me for a long moment, and a slow exhale where the shoulders sank with the breath as the tension gradually released. Instantly, my hair stood on end, and I became alert. Once I became aware of it, her subtle changes seemed to slow down in my eyes, becoming exceptionally clear. She walked ahead, unlike other guides who would turn back to look at me. Instead, she seemed afraid to face me, keeping her back turned the whole time. I didn't want to gamble. Following behind me were not only Zhishuan and Minhui, there was also an unfamiliar maid with her head bowed. Logically speaking, I could have let them go first, thereby avoiding this step, but Mother was quite pleased with Shin Ku. Shin Ku has a very good reputation, no need to guess. I already knew she wouldn't believe me. Perhaps she would even look at me with disappointed eyes, then say, "You're just overthinking it." My heart burned with nervousness. And I couldn't help but glance around. "Your garden is really lovely." A thought inexplicably popped into my mind. Great, there's no one else around. In the blink of an eye, for a split second, my hand moved faster than my thoughts. I suddenly turned around, grabbed the maid closest to me, and flung her away with all my strength. Plop, pushed her into the lake with a shove. Just as someone fell into the water here, not far away, someone leaped into the water without hesitation, followed by 2 more plops in quick succession. Great, it seems I guessed right. The ones who brought disaster to Huiyin in the past were indeed the Shin family. The young lady of the Shin family stared in shock at the lake. I lifted my skirt and kicked her down with 1 foot. Soon, both of them were rescued, just not on the side of the stone-paved path, but taken up elsewhere instead. I lifted my skirt and ran over quickly. There were quite a few people, everyone gathered together, chattering away, pointing fingers at the person who had fallen into the water. I glanced at the 4 people who had fallen into the water. The moment I recognized one of them as He Linchuan, I laughed. How absurd. I never expected he would be the other person to jump into the water. Who did he think was the one who fell into the water? And what was he trying to achieve by pretending to save someone? Shinko was so furious that her eyes blazed with anger. Turning to see us, she sharply demanded without any courtesy, "Miss Zhang, why did you push my sister?" I looked utterly baffled. This is my first time meeting the young lady from the Shin family. We have no past grudges or recent conflicts. Why would I push her into the water? Clearly, it was the commotion caused by that maid falling in that startled her. Minhui reacted swiftly, pointing at the drenched servant. "Your family is truly peculiar. From here, you can't even see that area. How did you know someone had fallen into the water?" Shinko, realizing the scheme was about to be exposed, hastily defended herself. "Naturally, we heard the commotion and sensed something was wrong. It seems this was all just a misunderstanding." Zhishuan, slower on the uptake, finally caught on and flushed crimson with anger. She rushed over, tugging at my sleeve and shouting, "Miss, let's hurry and leave. They were clearly waiting here all along." Jumping into the water at the slightest sound. Who knows what the Shin family is up to, trying to push my lady in but ending up falling in themselves. Is that it? Shinku, sensing the situation was amiss, strode over to stop me. I shouted angrily, "Don't come any closer, you scoundrel." The woman's struggle and panic, on the contrary, it would only excite men. In the chaos, I pulled out my hairpin, drew the hidden blade from within, and stabbed it into Shinku's arm, with a fierce upward slash. I then pulled it out. My hand. Never before had I been so acutely aware of what I was doing. The moment blood spurted out, the terrified screams of bystanders rang in my ears. The words spoken by Master Mingxin resurfaced in my mind once again. If I hadn't entered the Buddhist order, I might have become a demon myself. To my eyes, many people are like pigs waiting to be slaughtered. It's shameful to say, but my family used to be butchers. When the knife goes in, you have to twist it sideways to cut open the vein so the blood drains clean. Sometimes I feel certain people are just like those pigs. Their flesh would probably stink when boiled. I have no regrets. The Buddha couldn't save me, but a knife can. After doing all this, I grabbed Minhui and Zhishuan and ran back. We sprinted all the way, and before even entering the door, I cried out loudly, "Mom, save me." The girl turned her head and saw my condition. She was instantly terrified. "What happened? Where are you hurt?" Along with the woman accompanying her, I also panicked along with them. "Shinku is trying to harm me." I tearfully recounted what had happened over there. She immediately had her attendants protect me as I left, then quickly ordered, "Minhui, go back and call your father here." Minhui responded and, leading her personal maid, dashed out first. I supported Ji Xian's trembling arm and turned to look back. Over there, Mother was so furious that she picked up a cup and threw it at the Shin family, declaring harshly, "This matter isn't over today." I squeezed Ji Xian's hand and fainted. Zishuan burst into tears. "Miss, don't scare me like this." The noise level suddenly rose. Back at home, I methodically listed who was present there, which individuals might be involved in this matter. Who else could become a helper? After listening, my father patted my shoulder reassuringly. "It's all right. You rest well and don't overthink anything." He then called Minhui to go with him. I stared blankly at their retreating figures, lost in thought. Jishuan came in with a bowl of hot water, a warm towel wiped across my face. It snapped me out of my daze. I murmured, "Who knows what will happen next?" Jishuan wiped away her tears as she began to cry herself. "No matter what it is, Jishuan is willing to face it together with you, miss." I dipped my hands into the warm water to wash them clean, laughing heartily. "Then you'll come with me to the Peach Blossom Nunnery to become a nun. I've even thought of our monastic names. I'll be Huining, and you'll be Huizhu." That's what I said, but I couldn't bear to let her suffer with me. I tidied up everything meticulously. Jishuan was about to take away that blood-stained hairpin. I stopped her. "There's no need to take this." The moment she turned to look at me, tears fell again without warning, as if crashing onto the calm lake of my heart, scalding me so much I almost wanted to cry. She said, "Don't be afraid, miss, we're already home." I blinked, feeling somewhat uneasy, and said, "Keeping it would make me feel more at ease." In the end, I didn't take the hairpin with me. By the time Jishuan returned, I was still sitting there in a daze. She urged me to get some sleep. The sword hanging over my head didn't fall. How could I possibly sleep? I waited until nightfall, and finally, my parents returned. Mother hurried over. The moment our eyes met, my heart involuntarily leaped to my throat. I nervously clutched my skirt. "Mother, I've caused trouble." She hurried over to embrace me, soothing softly, "It's all right, it's all right. What's your fault? Everyone saw it was him who wouldn't let you go. Everyone knows they brought this on themselves by failing to harm others." I nestled helplessly in her arms, feeling the gentle warmth as she told me about what had happened after I left. Many young people stood by my side and spoke up for me. Anyone with half a brain who's associated with Shinko knows there would inevitably be people standing by your side. So rather than risk defending the wrongdoers, it's better to distance themselves by stepping away. No one wants to be tainted, and the way to stay clean is to join others in condemning Shinko. "But I hurt someone," I said, pointing to the hairpin on the tray. "This is a specially made hairpin, bought for self-defense. It's very sharp, and I deliberately severed his tendons." Mother gritted her teeth in anger. "Good riddance. I wish you had killed him. Tomorrow, your father will take this to the emperor and accuse Lord Chang'an of failing to discipline his son, allowing him to harm a young girl. You're in the right here. No matter how hard the Shin family tries, they won't be able to protect Shinko." Indeed, things unfolded exactly as Mother had predicted. The results came the next day. The Marquis of Chang'an was suspended from his post, and Shinko was permanently barred from employment. The Shin family sent Shinko far away to save his life. Mother personally combed my hair. "Our Zhang family does not seek trouble, but we are not afraid of it either." He deliberately insulted a woman's reputation, intending to ruin your purity. This act has provoked public outrage. Every family has children. Not only did your father submit a formal complaint against him, but everyone present was furious. If it hadn't been you yesterday, it would have been someone else. Whose daughter would it have been then? She is naturally the daughter of someone close to the Shin family. As I listened to her speak, my thoughts involuntarily drifted away. In the past, I thought my family disliked me because of my personality. Now that I think about it, perhaps that wasn't the case. After getting married, the eldest sister repeatedly came back home to ask our parents for help with her husband's career. Our parents found her annoying, but they never turned her away. The second brother was considered the pillar of the family. In reality, he was temperamental, loud, and prone to impulsive behavior. His parents often scolded him, yet they were also willing to guide him. The youngest sister was spoiled, needing others to take care of everything, yet she received the most support from the whole family. Only me, seemingly knowledgeable, actually only saw the superficial aspects of problems. It often took me a long time to realize things. It turns out those past events concealed deeper underlying issues. I often thought my parents blamed me for quarreling with Gu Chaoyun, to the point of pushing He Linchuan toward Gu Chaoyun. This moment, suddenly, it dawned on me. They blamed me for not making a big scene immediately when I first noticed something was wrong. A moment of patience inadvertently encouraged the interactions between He Linchuan and Gu Zheyun. yet I couldn't afford to remain patient indefinitely. As the ties between the two families grew increasingly entangled, Gu Zhouyun and Helinquin, through underhanded means, deceived everyone, appearing more and more justified on the surface. By the time I made a scene again, the Zhang family had already lost the upper hand. Thinking of all this, I could no longer hold back my sobs. It turns out I had the chance to divorce. I was just afraid of being judged by others. A moment of hesitation led to completely missing the opportunity. "Hey, what's going on? Why are you crying?" outside the house. The second brother's anxious inquiry could be heard. The second sister-in-law hit him. "Stop making noise." Minhui simply pushed the door open and came in. "Sister, are you all right?" Mother sighed in relief, holding me to comfort me. "It's good that you cried. It's my fault." As she spoke, she couldn't help but tear up as well. I hugged her tightly. "The villain wanted to do evil. What does that have to do with you, Mother? He pretended so well. Everyone spoke well of him. How could we have known? Without me, there would still be Huiyan even before the incident. I thought the Shen family was quite good. In my past life, even Master Mingshan only spoke of the matter without naming names. It seems this matter was never spread. Such filth. To think he could pretend to be a good person for so long. You're just too well behaved. Mother's tears soaked my neck. I never knew how to discipline you. Your eldest sister is the best at playing dumb. I never worry about her being taken advantage of. Your younger sister has been mischievous since childhood, always getting into trouble the moment I take my eyes off her. But you were always so well behaved, and by the time I realized it, I'd already grown distant from you. Her words caught me completely off guard. This time I understood what she meant. She wanted me not to be too obedient. Without any edge, one would only get bullied. I laughed through my tears. What well-behaved child would stab someone with a knife? Her arms around me tightened. Clearly, she was still frightened by the incident. I somewhat regretted bringing up the knife. This was an unspoken understanding between us. Why would one need to keep such a sharp weapon at hand for no apparent reason? And how did they know the technique to sever tendons? Fortunately, Minhui came over, pressing close to me and said pitifully, "I was almost scared to death. Can't you comfort me a little, Mother?" Luckily, Mother didn't press the matter further. What's past is past. There's no point in dwelling on past actions. The next time we met was already 2 months later. Because of the incident where I injured someone with a knife, there are far fewer letters now, but there are some new candidates. The previously submitted letters have been screened. Father has kept 3 people based on the information gathered. Among them were Jiang Yuxing from the Jiang family, Gu Fei, Chen Wenjing's husband in her past life, and Lu Ming, the heir of Prince Yu. After the incident with Shenku, Mother became much more open with me. She picked up Jiang Yuxing's invitation and began explaining it to me in detail. Because of your uncle's connections, I know quite a bit about the Jiang family. Yuxing himself is a fine young man, but it's a pity his father lacks sense. Such a good child still doesn't know how to take care of himself. When I saw him recently, he appeared dignified and handsome, but his posture was too rigid, which shows he's never able to relax. She put it down with a hint of regret. Marriage isn't just about getting along with him, it's about getting along with his whole family. If there's someone in the household who can't see reason, you'll be troubled for a lifetime. I never even considered him, not to mention some absurd things from past lives. I actually knew a bit about him. His mother and grandmother passed away one after another. His father oppressed him greatly, which made him overly sensitive. Being with him is like interacting with someone full of scars. One careless move and you'd touch his sore spot. Mother nodded. That makes sense. Similarly, this Gu Fei won't do either. He once had intentions towards the Chen family's daughter, but unfortunately, when Jing's parents favored He Linchuan not long ago, I heard he jumped into the water to save a maid from the Shen family. At this point, Mother let out an unkind, cold laugh. When Jing's parents thought he still had lingering feelings for you, but in the end, he gave up, which is to say, the Gu family sent the invitation.
When Grandma passed away, I was devastated. Everyone knew my pillar of support had collapsed, and they all distanced themselves from me. Only you kept caring for me. You didn't ignore me like the others did, but I ended up scaring you away." His voice choked up. "If only I cut him off." "There are no if-onlys, and there shouldn't be any." I looked into his eyes without flinching. "I can't save anyone, but I hope you can open the doors and windows yourself and step out, pull out that steel needle from your body, and stay away from those who are bad for you. You still have a long life ahead. And as long as you live each day earnestly, one day the good memories will outnumber the sad ones." I've never seen a man cry. He was the first. Tears held back for so long, it brushed past his face. For some reason, I felt a sense of melancholy. But I knew very well, in truth, he and I were the same kind of people. Once there was a steel needle inside my body, it made me constantly doubt myself. Only I know how deeply this needle has affected me. Every decision I make, everyone is being affected by it. I always thought of myself as well-behaved and sensible. I didn't need to be disciplined like my younger sister, but I didn't know that kind of supervision was actually a form of care. Because of this absence, I often lacked confidence. Everything I experienced later made me suffer even more. Thus, a steel needle was planted in the heart. Living with increasing caution, the more one fails to face oneself honestly, the narrower the path becomes. When in pain, even the sky feels narrow. Because my world has long been dark and lightless, I said to him, "When you crave others' love, you must first love yourself." How long has it been since you last had a proper, delicious meal, or freely chosen what to wear? Jiang Yuxing could no longer hold back and burst into tears. The dark clouds hanging over his head seemed to have dispersed quite a bit. I suddenly realized the meaning of Lu Ming's words. Weaknesses can also be strengths. Eldest sister often pleaded with our parents for her husband's sake. Because she is soft-hearted, she treats not only her brother-in-law this way, but also us with the same tenderness. Knowing her soft-hearted nature, everyone in turn treats her gently as well. Second brother is loud and straightforward, speaking his mind without hesitation, and everyone responds to him in the same direct manner. Younger sister Minhui has a fiery temper and is quite delicate, quick to show her emotions. But she never holds grudges or hides her feelings. Moreover, she knows how to speak softly, which makes others feel for her. I am sensitive by nature, so I can notice when someone is silently crying in a corner that others might overlook. In Lu Ming's eyes, whether I am the sun or the moon, I always shine with light. This doesn't seem like ordinary affection. I married Lu Ming. Only after marriage did I realize he wasn't a perfect man, not a refined gentleman, nor gentle and cultivated. Often curses his political rivals at home, puts on a fierce and cold facade outside. When the first child was born, he would worry, "It would be better if Kahui grows up more like you, not like me when I was a child." What's the difference between that and a wild monkey? But he is also very steady and capable of handling many things well, although he still argues with me sometimes. But there's one thing I'm completely at ease about: he couldn't bear to say hurtful words to me. So I couldn't bear to make him truly angry either. He never puts on airs around me, nor is he overly cautious. I still remember when Jihui was born, holding his daughter with reddened eyes. He came looking for me. "Minju," I responded weakly. Anyone else would have known I needed rest at that moment. After a while, I heard him call out worriedly again. I almost laughed in frustration. So he was worried I might die. It was as if he was born knowing how to be kind to people. Such lukewarm emotions. Exactly what I needed. His presence permeates every corner of life. I knew he was in a bad mood when he was planting flowers. He knew that my occasional uncontrollable sarcasm wasn't genuine. I helped him relieve his emotions in my own way. He, in turn, taught me that saying sorry isn't actually shameful. Immersive translate. I saw He Linchuan again. It has been 5 years now, since the incident at the Shin family occurred. The He family also sent him out to gain experience, even though he knew many things from his past life, seized the initiative, yet failed to deliver. Among the water-related projects, he nearly botched them. Fortunately, he brought along the person who had turned the tide in their previous life. At last, he understood, some things should be left to those who specialize in them. Because the way to handle them changes as circumstances change, nothing remains unchanged, including people, so he was very surprised the moment he saw me. It was the kind of astonishment one feels when seeing a familiar person who has changed dramatically. Fortunately, Jia Sui's appearance broke the silence. This little brat has still turned into a mischievous monkey after all. At the marriageable age of wisdom and grace, she remained lively, chasing after and calling out, "Hey, Jia Sui. Don't run so fast, your aunt can't keep up with you, Jiasue. Helinquin was utterly shocked, he looked at me in panic. So it was. I bent down to pick up the dodging Jiasue. Stop teasing your aunt. It seems he knows about the memorial tablet placed before the eternal lamp at the Peach Blossom Nunnery. We once had a child together, it was lost when I fell into the water. Before we even knew whether it was a boy or a girl, I gave it the name Jiaha. Blessed are those who do not enter unblessed doors. It's actually quite good without it. I pray for his early reincarnation, may he live a good life. I drugged He Linchuan, to ensure he can never have offspring. It's not that I can't bear children. It's that he can't, under my guidance. My parents have noticed the ambiguous relationship between He Linchuan and Gu Jiayun, however, so after the incident with the Shen family, I had people spread the word that He Linchuan and Shen Ke were close. Claiming that Shen Ke wanted to ruin my reputation for the sake of his good friend, no one dared to marry him. In the end, he could only marry Gu Jiayun. It said that Gu Jiayun had constant conflicts with his parents. His parents were dissatisfied with Gu Jiayun as their daughter-in-law. Gu Chaoyun disliked the hypocrisy of the He couple. Nothing is more satisfying than seeing your enemies suffer. They would haunt each other like ghosts for a lifetime, then die with resentment and regret.